Good morning. I wanted to take care of this because there's a lot of other things I'm brewing up and events I have coming and art projects I'm working on and things that I want to share that I have been putting off because I haven't been able to address what happened regarding me going to Hawaii earlier in June. So I just wanted to really briefly address those concerns. And I want to make it clear that just like all the other things that I do in my life, like my choice to go off medicine or my decision to do rope suspension or any other things that I engage with, I assume that people using this interface have self-governance. So I assume that even though you see me doing things, you don't just make the assumption that that means you can do it yourself, right? Because everybody's body is different, everybody's life is different, everybody's risk profile is really unique, which is why I say, if you've come to any of my yoga classes, you know, I encourage you to disobey. I encourage you to allow my rules to be suggestions, because ultimately, like, only you know what's right for your body. I can never know that. I can only give you suggestions and I can only give you ideas, right? So, and similarly, like, nobody knows the intimate details of my life and the decisions that I make, and I don't feel that I need to, and I don't want you to feel either, that you need to justify your decisions to strangers on the internet. Like, we try to provide as much context as we can into why we do the things that we do. You know, like, I don't want people assuming that doing rope has no risks at all. So I try to provide a little bit of education around what I'm doing, but this is sort of an unforgiving process, because let's say that I was new to rope or I was just getting into it. Well, now there's a situation where just because I choose to share it, that people assume I'm an expert or assume, right? And that's like part of the problem with social media and like self-appointed titles, right? Something that you don't have to really work to get and aren't given to you, but that you just assume, right? Like, oh, now I'm a photographer because I bought a Leica camera, and right? Like, people do this. This happens. We know this. And you know, in the model community, it's really widely known that just because you see, you know, in my portfolio that I've worked with so-and-so, it doesn't mean that that person is automatically safe. It doesn't mean that that person has, you know, nothing bad on their track record. Like, it just means that I had an experience with them that was endurable. You don't even know if it was positive or not. So never make the assumption that just because you see me doing something that it is like okay for you to do automatically with no research, or that someone who had a good experience with me is going to give you a good experience, because the way that we interact with people is totally different, and you need to ultimately be listening to your body. So I thought really long and hard, because when I went to Hawaii, which I was called there in service to a friend and community who's been very close to me for a number of years. And, you know, I thought long and hard before I made that decision as a as a disabled and autoimmune compromised person who cannot get vaccinated. It's no small peas for me to be like, oh, I'm going to fucking jump ship and I'm going to literally travel. Like, it's a big deal. It's a bigger deal for me than most people to just be able to like boop, boop, boop out your house. It was already a bigger deal because I've always been disabled and a single parent, but like, it's extra a big deal now because there's more than just like the flu to catch, right? So it was really disheartening when I had a bunch of people that literally like just found me because they were looking for tags or locations around, like people that go to Hawaii or have been to Hawaii this summer, just to like literally try and rip me a new asshole for something they didn't understand, didn't actually ask to get clarification on, or couldn't get clarification on because they aren't a part of my community, and they literally just swarmed me as I'm coming back from a place where I had no fucking cell service. Oh, and my phone broke while I was there. So I was like dealing with very limited technology while people are like fucking hounding me and demanding that I explain to them why I'm there and exactly what I'm doing, and, you know, name drop the people. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you where I am and what I'm doing. Like, I understand bad shit is happening in there. Bad shit's happening all over the world. It is a tiny microcosm where you can see colonization playing out at this rapid rate. And yes, it is nauseating. Yeah, it is. It's fucking horrible. Like the people that live there don't have enough water on some of the islands like Maui, which is like probably, I would say, the most commercialized and like plundered. I don't really know how else to describe it. And it's sad. I cried. I did so many grief rituals I can't even explain to you. And before I went there, I was doing rituals at home, trying to really tap into and listen to my guides and understand if this was, what's my motivation here? I needed to make sure that it was pure. And I felt that, and I still feel that it was pure. I went there and I learned a lot. It showed me all of the little pieces about healing that hadn't quite settled in yet, integrated into my embodiment, just fell into place. And I don't think it had to do with specifically Hawaii, like it's this magical oasis mythology place. No, this is true of anywhere that's wild. Anywhere that's wild. That's why I hike every single day. That's why I have sanctuaries that I go to where the wilderness is fucking preserved, because that shit is medicine and we need it. And it quite literally helps us deprogram ourselves, helps us become actual sovereign beings who have control over our own self-governance, right? When people are just operating off really intense emotions and it's literally just you replicating programs or projections or whatever, I don't have the capacity for that. I've been bullied my whole life. I'm a very sensitive person. And I feel sadness that I was misunderstood. I feel grief around the fact that I went to this place. I took a very big risk to heed a call when I heard it, which is really hard for anybody to do in this world, to hear something from spirit and be oh, I understand I'm going to get fucking chewed out for this. And it doesn't look like what everybody thinks it should look like, but this is where I'm being called. And I heard I was being delivered this mission, and it was you're going to do this thing. And I was okay, I don't really understand all the whys, but I understand that I need to, and that I'm going to be bringing information back from that. And that absolutely was the case for me. And, some of this information is being passed along in the interpersonal work that I do, and the one-on-one peer counseling and Reiki and, body work that I do with folks. Some of this is happening in my one-on-one private coaching, because my entire business model is not all online, right? So when you see an incomplete picture and you don't understand something about someone's life, please just hold back your judgment. I know it's really difficult because in this country we have totally skipped observation. We fucked our ability to observe without automatically coming to a judgment. If you can't look at a photo and describe things about it that are just details that you notice before you say whether or not it's a good photo or a bad photo, or anything for that matter, I'm just using a photo as an example, you're falling victim to that, where you're just judging and you're not observing anything that's going on. And if I had had that space to just come back and share what I had experienced and learned, in the events that I curate for that reason, for folks that really want to sit and listen to the whole story, I probably would have been able to have this conversation sooner. But because folks tried to jump down my throat and it became a fucking cancel campaign, kind of, sort of, it was just that energy. It wasn't, it was just big cancel energy. And I was can you put your knives down? I literally just got back from serving the land, being literally so in it, and I'm trying to pull myself back out so that I can continue to be a siphon and a channel to allow this information to come through me and continue to deliver it to other folks. Because if I was selfish, I could, just like most rich people do, just buy my plot of land and go live out my life and not come back, right? But I'm on this little yo-yo trip, coming up, getting information, trying to allow these downloads to rinse through me so that I'm actually able to pass on this information and allow it to inform my community and my folks. And I do it out of love. It doesn't mean that it doesn't come with risks, one of which being that, you're very likely to be misunderstood, and that's what happened. So it took me over a month to come back and actually have this conversation. That doesn't mean, I've been talking about this stuff for patrons and folks that are on patreon.com/LiordLA. And folks that are a part of my newsletter have been getting information, which newsletter's free, PS, and Patreon's literally the cup, the cost of a cup of coffee, a fucking latte, dude. So you can afford it. It comes with all different kinds of workshops, play shops, all different kinds of stuff. And you actually get to sit down and hear the whole story of things instead of it being a situation where you just find me randomly on the internet and assume I'm some like tourist. Please, first of all, your internet activism doesn't work. Stop trying to argue with people. Stop. Literally, okay? Secret time. The fucking algorithm, dude, it's designed to show your shit to other people who want to hear your shit. Stop trying to like engage in arguments with people that disagree with you. It is literally a waste of energy. I'm gonna say it again. It's literally a waste of energy. Worry about your fucking self, okay? Worry about your fucking self. And if you come across other people on social media that are, that are conveying shit that resonates with you and sounds true to you, awesome. Support them, listen to them. Do not listen to anybody that makes you feel bad about yourself. Do not engage with anybody that makes you feel bad about yourself, including me. If I post something and you're like, wow, I think Lior's an asshole now. Don't come at me saying I'm an asshole. I don't want to argue with you if you think I'm an asshole. Okay, bye. I got 9,000 other people to talk to. I got 1,000 people just on my mailing list alone. I have actual people in my community who I'm in connection with. I don't have time for that. For real. And if you're doing proper spiritual housekeeping, you don't either. You will not have time to actually be fucking explaining yourself to all these projecting ass people. Like, I'm sorry that you're grieving. I'm sorry that you're experiencing pain. I'm sorry you're witnessing the grief of the world and it feels overwhelming and you want to point fingers at somebody and blame somebody. I understand. I'm not your scapegoat, though, first of all. Second of all, stop looking for one because you're wasting your time. That shame and blame, you know what that is? The opposite of progress. You know what that is? A waste of energy. Don't. For real. The whole time I spent off the internet, I built a house, y'all. I built a fucking prayer hut. I built an art building. What? I built something like it's so fucking crazy to me, person who experienced such debilitating pain that I would literally throw my back out bending down to tie my shoe. Yeah, that's like the difference between when you are working and doing things that are in alignment with your soul purpose. I knew exactly why I was being called there. I don't need to explain my healing journey to y'all. I give you the little bits and pieces of my healing journey that I think are universally relevant. That doesn't mean that you're entitled to all the details of my life. No, it doesn't. Doesn't mean that you're entitled to the details of anybody's life. Leon, hey. No. Come here. Stop. I swear to God, he's going to get me evicted. I'm done. You know what? He's time checking me. He's like, let's go. We said we had other things to do. And I do. And I don't want to over-explain myself. Because you know what? If you cared enough, you could go pledge on Patreon and you could see the over 100 photos, all these different videos and time lapses of all the people that were involved, the land we were building on, the way it changed, shape over time, the way that we used materials that we found on the land in the process of healing it, in the process of going through and undoing what had been done to it, right? Like, listen, y'all, Hawaii, like many jungles, right? This place is so fucking wild. The ground under your feet is not soil. Hold on a second. Go. No. The ground under your feet is volcanic, dried volcanic glass and rock. It is literally, there are holes everywhere. The ground, porous. You are literally sitting on basically a collection of rocks that are fucking held together, that are literally held together by the roots of the plants that live on that place. It's terrifying, honestly. You start going in and you, like literally, so you stick your hands in the ground anywhere and you go boop and you open it up and guess what you see? Holes. Massive holes. You could be taking a walk and you find a little hole in the ground. You're like, huh, neat. And you stick your head in it and you look under and you're like, oh, all that shit I was just walking on, completely hollow. Completely hollow. Hassan's eye, if you ask me one more time for armpit shit, go fucking pledge on Patreon and shut the fuck up and get off my live. Do you understand? You're gonna get blocked. That's what you're gonna fucking get. Don't be disrespectful. I've had it, y'all. I've had it. Energy vampires, suck it. Oh, you want erotic attention? Literally go to Patreon. You're disgusting. What do you think this is free? I'm disgusted by it. That peasantry shit, don't fucking come at me. Oh, you can't afford it? I don't care. Go somewhere else. That's not what I'm here for right now. Does it look like I'm working for you? No. Okay, so you can pay me if you want to pretend that I have time for your bullshit. Anyway, the ground there is fucking hollow, dude. It's hollow. So, like, if I wasn't wanted on that island, or I wasn't welcome on that island, or I was not, if I was not sanctioned by a spirit and I wasn't being called there, I fully believe I would have died. I would have hurt myself. I heard so many stories of, oh yeah, so-and-so who's in the fucking military went for their first hike here and died. Literally. Just fucking fell off the mountain and died. This is regular ass, average ass hikes there, because it's sacred land. And listen, I believe a lot of land is sacred. It's just a matter of how much it's been removed from that ancestral, custodianship and care, and been like sort of prophetized and, bastardized for other purposes. That being said, you can access erotic energy, earth energy anywhere. You can tap into these things anywhere. You could get hurt going anywhere you're not welcome, and I feel that, especially as a person who's so delicate, like, I literally am so fucking delicate, dude. It's so annoying. Like, if I go in a public pool, I could have an abscess that pops up out of nowhere, even though I had no skin openings. A random ass abscess could pop the fuck up and decide it doesn't want to heal for years. Like, antibiotics, they don't work. Surgeries, they make it worse. Like, literally, I have the most random shit wrong with me. I'm so fucking sensitive. And part of being sensitive, which this is something I love about it, is that I can only go where I am invited. My life, my spiritual path, my ideology, path of least resistance. Literally, your body is a house of spirits. You have dominion over some of them, right? And some of them have dominion over you. So it's like you sort of have to make a decision. And being in such a sensitive, like literally hypersensitive and highly porous body, like, my core disability is that my collagen is defunct and there's too much space in my cells. I am quite literally flying apart at the speed of light. So there's plenty of room. I am very supported by my microbiome. I'm very in touch with the way that I am in communication with my environment. And this is because there's so much in our world that can make us sick. And if you're a highly sensitive person, or disabled folks whose bodies are like at risk of, being thrown off balance very easily, like, you have to learn how to navigate these things. That's why I do the play shots that I do, because this shit's fucking important. But I also deserve the time and the space to have dedicated a month to my own healing and understanding, oh, I don't kill bugs, but mosquitoes, I do. Stop coming in here. Stop with the windows open, though. And that's my cue. This is how you know that my phone's like, your 5-minute live has been 30 minutes and we're done now. So all that to say that please don't be inspired to go visit the places that I visit. Be on your own journey, be on your own path. If you see something in a place that makes you feel something and that feels true to you, it's the replication that doesn't need to happen, and the assumptions and the judgments that don't need to happen, and the arguments that don't need to happen, because I just genuinely, I'm a pro-conflict kind of person, because conflict is an invitation for the relationship to deepen. So if you're in conflict with me, it's probably because you don't know me well enough. And if you're in conflict with me and you know me well, it's probably because we haven't been able to hear each other. I think most things can be solved by deep listening, even between people that we actually adamantly hate and disagree with. And all that to say, I will just block you. If you want to argue with me, you could pay me for a peer counseling session. Honestly, if you want to send me resources, if you want to be like, oh shit, Lior's doing this thing that's actually like really problematic and toxic, and you want to send me like an article literally to my email without request for a reply, and just be like, you know what? Hey, you said you used this word and actually it's the incorrect word. This is like the proper word that you should use. And and I'm just sending you because I know that you're a continuous life learner and that you would want to know if you made a mistake. And I'd be like, yo, thank you, dude, because you gave me space to come to it at my own time. You didn't attack me. You didn't come with accusations. You didn't tell me, oh, you're a whatever because you said this and I think it means that. Slow your fucking roll, dude. Slow your roll. Take some time and space. Provide resources if you feel like you want to provide resources. But also know, nobody is entitled to take you up on that offer. No one is entitled to engage with you for real.
Same way with like when men being dickheads in public, and I make the decision to try and engage with that and offer a learning experience, right? That's my choice. I'm not guaranteed that they're going to be receptive to that. If I feel like expending my energy in that way that day, that's my choice. But you can't just assume that being a bully is the way to answer things, right? Like, don't care in the situation. If someone is not responding or is unable to respond, it's probably because they're overwhelmed and it's like not the right time. So patience will solve most of the things. What's our highlights? Oh yeah, stop making assumptions. Don't make judgments. Listen, because if you are in conflict with somebody, you probably just need to listen a little longer. Unfollow and block, dude, literally. Anybody who's making you unhappy on this app, if it's like, you know, you might be being called in to like wrestle with something in your soul, but like that's work that we do in our communities, in our actual held communities. I can't do that work with you if I don't know you. If you don't really even have your own face on there, I got no way of knowing if you're a real person, even if you have pictures on your profile. That's not, I can share information. That's what the internet's good for. Making connections and sharing information. You're not going to change anybody's mind. It's an echo chamber. You're not going to change anybody's mind. Take a deep breath. You want to do something meaningful, make art, work on your own sensitivities, your own experience, what's going on inside your own body, your own self-sovereignty. And now within your communities, your actual communities, like the people you see, the people that you talk to every day, every week, the people you check up on, the people you miss when you don't see them. And yeah, I love when people include me in their community, you know, as far as like inspiration goes, or people they'd love to work with, or people who help them stay grounded. Like, that's awesome. But this isn't the same. It's not the same. A parasocial interaction with somebody where I can't know you on the same, you are in a position of an audience. That's really different. That doesn't make us equals. We are only equals in real life, right? Like these, like the follower counts, all that shit doesn't mean anything. It's not real, but it ends up changing the way that we interact with each other. So don't mistake this digital world as real, please. Like, the most real thing on these digital worlds are the websites that individual creators make. And I gotta tell you, the mass exodus of Instagram, it's coming. It's been happening. They've been bleeding usefulness, bleeding actual value, bleeding actual meaning and real artistry for years. Censorship is insane. If you are not paying to support the creators who made an impact on you, then all you're doing is farming yourself out. You're still stuck on this free trap where they're selling you advertisements constantly, where you're not getting the content that you even signed up to get. You're getting whoever paid to get to you. You are literally, you put yourself in a fucking pig pen, and now the butchers are coming to you. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll take some of that bacon. And they're like, okay. You're being fed back to yourself, for real. The most useful thing about this app, about it at all, is to connect you with the creators that are actually speaking truth that resonates with you. Even if you do find them, you will lose them in the fucking digital sludgery that's happening, because we are cattle. Thank you, Vampistress of X. Wow, I motherfucked that up a lot. Okay, excuse me. It's early. Yeah, so don't fall for the game. Like, don't fall for that trap. If you think just because it's free that it's good for you, it's not. I need to tell you, like, I don't have any notifications from Instagram. I come on here like twice a day, once to post and once to respond to y'all. And if I'm doing my boundary setting correctly, that's all I do. Because if I'm not going to seek out people, I'm just getting advertisements thrown in my face. And I'm sorry, but like, I'm saving money to actually do meaningful things with. I don't want to spend them on random ass shit that I don't really need. Because I literally lived in the middle of the jungle with nothing for a month. I'm never buying shit again. I'm making everything I need. You know what I bought this month? Like a little bit of food from the grocery store and a battery for this drill so I can make Yoni steamer chairs. Get at me. I am going to the farmer's market. I'm going to be up in all the fucking yard sales. And you know what? If you haven't Yoni steamed yet, go pledge on Patreon, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about all these things this month. I appreciate that you, Vamp Mistress. I'm glad when people are receptive. I appreciate that. And at the same time, don't take everything I say as fact. Literally, like, research shit. If something that I say, you're like, that sounds fishy, like, literally go Google it. Also, I have a massive reading list, like my whole lineage, because I have degrees, but I don't have degrees in spirituality. I'm self-taught like anybody else. Like, there's no, like, official school. Like, we just do research. So my entire lineage, all the books I've read, you want to know who I'm quoting, what studies things are coming from? It's on my website. Right there. That's free. If it's free, but you got to do something to go get it, that's probably the real shit, right? Like, anything that's like just free and here for you, it's because they want information from you, or they want your attention, or they want your time, whatever. I hope you're more relaxed after hearing this. I hope that you relinquish your felt responsibility to single-handedly peruse the internet for villains to police in their political correctness, or literally whatever. Like, just let people live their fucking lives. Everybody's doing their own ascension journey. Like, everyone's in a different fucking place. It's a whole time. It's Elaine from the moon ceremony. Hi. Oh my God. It's so good to see you. Aw. See? This is the best part about the internet. Right fucking here. Where I'm just hanging out. And, who do I get attracted to? Or who gets attracted to what I'm already doing? The people that already show up and are part of my community in real life. Wow, I love that. And on that note, I'm going to end this, because that is like, that's literally like also thank you, because like Elaine is way easier to say than I'm not even going to try to say it again. I was really messing it up. Anyway, I love y'all a whole lot. I hope that you rigorously inspect any of my wisdom, for your own, and test and try everything and make them true in your body, and know your yeses and your nos before you take anybody else's information for fact. And if you want some tips and tricks on perfecting our self-governance and working on self-sovereignty, you can join me for the Polyvagal Play Shop. It'll be, I think, on September 13th at maybe 1 p.m. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's at the link in my bio. I just made the Eventbrite yesterday, so give me a break. It'll be fun. It's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be online, private space. We'll do a little PDF PowerPoint to learn about polyvagal theory and attachment theory and all these different ways that our nervous system operates and how we can partner with it so that we can do healthy self-soothing and exit addictive coping mechanisms. Because isn't that what you want? That's what I want for you and me, for like the world. Anyway, hugs to you too. Hope you have an amazing day.